say a phrase like, the evidence speaks for itself, somewhere a long dead debate or argumentation teacher is rolling in his grave? I didn't either. So this is Rosmer's speech assignment, and you do excessive research on the internet about 2 different fallacies. So like you guys, I'm up here to inform you of common lies, fallacies, that are sneakier than normal lies, so we're getting informed about them so that we can stop doing them ourselves or being victims of them. So I have the 2 fallacies of hypostatization or reification and the gambler's fallacy. So, like I said before, the main reason for learning this is that these are pretty sneaky ones, they're subtle for the most part, and you can't spot them either in your own speech or in someone else's unless you know about them, so I'm going to teach you about it. So we'll start with hypostatization, or more commonly known as reification. So this is, in my opinion, the sneakiest of all fallacies. I do this one multiple times a day, and you guys probably do too. So it is defined as, by SilenceDaily.com, they say the error of treating as a real thing something which is not a real thing but an idea. So that translates to English as basically giving something that is not concrete and abstract, like an idea, and giving it concrete, real characteristics. So how that would play out would be like an example like this. This is from, I'm trying to source here.
Ooh, very nice.
Sounds daily, again. Okay, nature selects those who are most fit. So this is the fallacy of hypostatization. How do we say that? Because nature doesn't select anything. Nature is an abstract idea. You can't assign real characteristics like the act of selecting to it. It doesn't select. Another one, it's not nice to fool Mother Nature. Mother Nature isn't a real thing. You can't fool her. She can't be fooled. Sorry. Side note, evolutionists get blamed for this one a lot, this specific fallacy. And creationists too, actually. But mainly evolutionists. Sorry. And final example is the evidence speaks for itself. Again, evidence is not something tangible that is capable of speaking. People speak. You can't give it the characteristic of being able to speak. That is committing this fallacy. This is a fallacy of ambiguity. It's almost using like vague language to kind of blur what you're talking about. So if in normal conversation this isn't a fallacy. So like, you know, you're on the way to Taco Bell and you're complaining to your mom, oh, my stomach is screaming, I'm so hungry. Technically, that's the fallacy of reification, but it isn't. It doesn't become a fallacy unless you're in a logical debate. Like if someone was arguing for evolution or creation and they kept using vague terms like nature or something else. So again, the fallacy of hypostatization is assigning real concrete characteristics to something that is not real or concrete. The next fallacy is the gambler's fallacy. And this is Investopedia.com describes it as when an individual believes that the onset of a certain random event is less likely to happen following an event or a series of events. That definition makes almost no sense the first 10 times you're reading. So basically what that is looking at either one event or a series of events, like a coin flip, and determining the outcome of a future event based on those individual events. So, coin flip, this is from the Discord project. I use this. Yeah. So this fallacy would look like someone is flipping a coin and they get 7 tails in a row. And so a bystander looks and says, oh, 8th is definitely going to be heads. It's time for heads. You know, it's due. And this is a fallacy because each coin flip is an independent event. All 7 coin flips were a 50-50 chance for heads or tails. The outcomes of all the previous coin flips didn't determine the future coin flip. So this is more of like an error of thinking, I guess you could say, because it's just, you can maybe think of other factors of why it would go heads or tails, but you can't say just because it's been landing on tails for so long means it's going to be heads. Another one would be investors from Investopedia again. So they use like a fake scenario of like, say there's some investors and they have invested in something of value that is slowly rising in value. and they decide to abandon that position or that product because they say, since it's rising, it's going to come down soon. It's just time for that to happen. This is a fallacy because just because it's rising in value doesn't mean it's going to come down. They might look at other different factors that would bring down the value. Just because it's going up doesn't mean it's time for it to come down. That is not a valid way to put that. So I have a test from jimwood.com, apparently a fallacy expert. And so the test is, your friend is flipping his coin. He is not cheating. There's no wind or anything like that. And you have to determine what is going to be the outcome of this coin flip. Is it going to be heads, tails, or is it equal chance of flip? And if you answered anything but C, you committed the gambler's fallacy. So, again, just saying, it's looking at a series of independent events and looking at the outcome of those events and making a prediction or assuming that something is due just because of those events, even though they're independent from the prediction. Okay, so I will review yet again. We have ratification, or hypothesization, which is when you give something that is not concrete, like nature or evidence, which is more of an idea than a real thing, and assigning it real or like human-like characteristics that don't belong to it. And the gambler's fallacy is, again, looking at independent events, like a coin flip, and determining a future event based on the outcomes of those solely. So, again, these fallacies are sneaky. We commit them all the time on accident. And the only way you can start catching yourself on that is by knowing what they are. And, we do this one. I don't know about you guys, I do this one all the time. And if you're in a logical debate someday, class for college, and if you're arguing with someone, you have to be careful because maybe they're educated on this and you weren't, and they'll call you for it. But that's what this is for, so that you can learn about it, be informed, and stop being subject to it or committing yourself.